What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Finding Hope podcast. I'm your host, Kayla Bundy. I hope you guys have had an amazing week and you all got a chance to listen to the 1-year anniversary episode. If you have not done that, make sure after this video you go and check that out. I literally am so excited. This is our second episode in season 2 of the podcast. And with Valentine's Day right around the corner, I was like, there's no better time to do a whole episode on love. So get ready, whether you're single, whether you're in a relationship, it truly does not matter the stage of life that your love life is residing in, because I promise there will be some great takeaways. However, if you are a single gal pal, this episode is 1,000% for you. I promise you guys are going to leave with amazing takeaways of what it looks like from a biblical definition, how God views love, why we celebrate love, the importance of it, and how to have a phenomenal Valentine's Day, whether you are in a relationship or single. Don't forget, there's a new episode every single Wednesday that drops. And not only is it the audio version, but if you have Spotify or YouTube, the video is on there as well. If you have not already, please make sure you rate this show and leave a review. You guys have no idea how much that means to me and how helpful it is. You guys, I am so stoked because I truly love Valentine's Day. Whether I'm in a relationship or not, literally Valentine's Day is one of my absolute favorite holidays. I think it's because, one, it's an excuse for every single person to wear pink and red, and pink is my favorite color. If you didn't know that by now, I guess it wasn't obvious enough. But pink is literally my end all be all. I want to live in a hot pink house. I want a hot pink car. Any excuse where pink is a priority in people's wardrobe is amazing for me. And then I love love. Truly, there's really nothing else that brings me so much joy than love. And whether it's in public or movies, it really doesn't matter. I think, the weird percent of the population that I don't really mind PDA. I feel like it's honestly so cute when I'm out in public and I see couples holding hands, they kiss, they're dancing together, they're being sweet with one another. It just melts my heart. I think it's one of the most beautiful things. A year ago, if you listened, I think it was the first episode I ever did, my bestie and I, we talked all about the love languages. So also, if you haven't watched that, you should really tune in because that's a fun one. But my 2 top love languages are physical touch and quality time. And so when I see couples out that are spending quality time together and they're being physically affectionate, my heart is just exploding with joy and I'm obsessed with them. I think it's the cutest thing. I don't know about you, but I can definitely get super disappointed on Valentine's Day, even though it is one of my favorites, because whether I'm in a relationship or not, I have not always had the best Valentine's Days. And truly, my happiest, most joyful Valentine's Days have been when I'm single. And I mean completely single, not where I'm kind of talking to someone or I might see some boy. No. I am truly, absolutely single. There's not even an option to see a boy. And I know it sounds crazy, but those are my favorite Valentine's Days. And I have gotten the most out of those days. And so I kind of want to go into why that has been so evident in my life. And it's definitely applicable whether you're in a relationship or you are single, because I think what I've learned in those times where I've had those great Valentine's Days and I haven't had somebody to spend it with, the mindsets that I've taken on as a priority to have a posture for during that day are so applicable no matter your current relationship status. The biggest one that is so helpful is remembering comparison is the thief of all joy. The second you start to compare your situation to somebody else's, I can almost promise you it's setting you up for disappointment. If you know that you're going to be tempted to get on your phone and see what maybe that boy is doing that you wanted to spend it with, seeing what your girlfriends are doing, seeing everybody else in love, and you're maybe not in that season, or maybe you are in love, but it's kind of a rough patch right now and things aren't lining up exactly the way you had anticipated in your head. The second you look at somebody else that looks like they have it better, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. So I think really stepping into that posture of, okay, if I know comparison is the thief of all joy, what can I do to take actions to eliminate that temptation to compare myself? And so whether it's a relationship or not, whether I'm single, I do not like to look at what everyone else is doing for Valentine's Day, because what I plan out for my Valentine's Day, I want for me. It's exciting. I'm thrilled about it. I'm looking forward to it. I have a day that I know I'm going to enjoy. But if I look at what other people are doing, then it kind of takes away from my original plan, and it makes me feel like, oh, well, I actually wanted that instead. Or yeah, I wish I had that. I wish I had somebody to spend it with. Or I wish I was in a healthier relationship. Or I wish he did more for me. I wish he did what my best friend's boyfriend did for her. It's just a never-ending cycle of disappointment. So as soon as you can remove any temptations for comparison before the day begins, I can promise it will just be so much more enjoyable. The second piece of advice is to actually make a plan and to communicate what you want. So whether you are in a relationship, actually, especially if you are in a relationship, your boyfriend, your girlfriend is not a mind reader. And I know I would kind of be guilty of having these expectations in my head of, oh, well, it's Valentine's Day, he should do X, Y, Z. And I never communicated that. And so if all of the things didn't happen that I really wanted to happen, I was left disappointed. And then I wasn't able to show my true love and appreciation for the little things he did, because for him, that was what he thought would be special. For me, that was not even close to what I would have wanted. And so there would be disconnects where he wouldn't get the love and respect that he deserved. And then I would be left feeling disappointed. And so really just being aware that, hey, no one is a mind reader and they should not be held to that standard, not just on Valentine's Day, but honestly, in every situation of life, friends, family, relationships. I think it's really easy to get trapped into this mindset of, oh, well, they know me so well, or they know that about me. They should know this. They should have done that. And it's easy to place these should words on them because of the relationships and the depth of our relationships that we have. When, yeah, I understand it's nice when you feel very known and understood and loved and they do exactly what you want them to do, but it's also never fair and it's never their responsibility to know that on their own. So I think just being able to communicate what your expectations are and what you're wanting out of things is just so much better. And I did that with my mom. Sorry, Mom. The other day, not about Valentine's Day, but I called her. I was so overwhelmed. I was so upset. And I went on, I vented to her. I really needed to be consoled. I wanted to just be held. I wanted to cry while someone just brushed my hair. I was like, I need to feel taken care of right now. And I did not express that at the start of the call. And so I said all of these things. And then the response I got was so not even remotely helpful. It made everything so much worse. I felt so invalid. I felt so misunderstood. I did not feel comforted at all. I felt like I had even more problems to deal with. We ended up hanging up, and then nothing bad. I had to go. I was following the GPS. And I called her back when I had more time to talk. And I realized that, hey, okay, moving forward, if I call you and I express these things, I really just need this sort of response. And that's what I need in those moments. And the response you gave me was so helpful for other scenarios in my life. And when I call and I'm experiencing different emotions. But when I'm experiencing just the feeling of being overwhelmed, overworked, unappreciated, I feel really drained and exhausted, then I do need to be comforted in those times. And what you did was great for other times, but I do, for the future, I do need that instead. And yeah, it was like a weird conversation, but I'm so glad I said that because she isn't a mind reader and I was left disappointed that she wasn't. And then it just provided clarity moving forward of, okay, so when we are having these conversations, this is what is going to be the most helpful. And so I think with Valentine's Day, whether you're spending it alone, with friends, with a partner, be clear in your expectations. If you want a romantic dinner, say that. If you want to stay in, say that. If you want to have some time for your girlfriends in the morning, say that. If you don't want to make a big deal out of it, say it. Please just communicate. It's crazy how many issues stem from not communicating what you actually want and expecting the other person to read your mind. And honestly, it's great if you are single because there's really not much you have to communicate. Like for me, I really only have to communicate these things to myself right now. And it's wonderful because this moves into my next point or tip for having an incredible Valentine's Day. Number 3, plan a day that you are so genuinely excited for. And like I said, with the expectations, with all of that, communicate all of those things. No one's a mind reader, but then actually plan out something that you are going to look forward to. And so for Valentine's Day, I love it because that is my day. Like I get so excited. I never feel bummed or disappointed that I'm not exactly where I wanted to be in my life or I'm not spending it with who I wanted to spend it with. I don't let those thoughts consume my mind that day. I view Valentine's Day as one of the best celebrations of love and one of the best ways to give myself love, but also to realize that love is so selfless. And the only reason we have love is because God is love and he did the most selfless act ever to exist by dying for us on the cross for our sins and laying his life down. And so when I think of love in that way and less of a romantic, affectionate way, it truly sets the entire tone for my day. Because when I'm able to remove myself and my selfish desires, my selfish needs from the idea of Valentine's Day, and I'm able to look at people and look at my life in a way to serve others in the ways that God serves and loves us every single day, it is game changing. 1 John 4 verse 7 and 8 says, "Dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love." Now, I want to press into this a lot more because I think it's easy to just hear the word love and we've painted that picture of what we think love is. And whether that's romantic, whether it's laughing all the time, whether it's you're happy with that person, whether it's this emotion that you feel that's so strong, really, it's truly none of those things. And those things can exist within love. But I think when we hear this verse, and especially when it says, "Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love," and we can maybe think, oh, well, so many people in my life love me that don't know the Lord, or so many people, they love all the time. It's easy for them to love. It's easy for this. And they don't know God, or it could even be that everyone who does love has been born of God. And maybe you feel like, I don't really know how to love well. I don't really feel worthy of that. And I want to press into what love actually is, because it's saying God is love. and those who love are in God. And so breaking down what love is in First Corinthians, it says love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always preserves. You've probably heard this passage read a million times or at some point in your life. But you guys, this just wrecks me. There's absolutely no way that I have ever loved this way in my entire life. And it blows my mind that that is the way that God loves us. And it blows my mind that we get to spend a whole day celebrating that. And just, I mean, if you really pull apart this verse, it's patient, it's kind, it does not envy, it does not boast. That alone, to have a patience that never runs out, to have a kindness that is always present, to never envy, never look, never compare, to never desire something different, to not be boastful about it. Oh my goodness, that is just mind-blowing that exists. And then it goes on to say it does not dishonor others and it is not self-seeking. I think it can be so easy, especially on Valentine's Day, to maybe dishonor the people we love and maybe be self-seeking. Because when it's a day about love, it's easy to feel like, who loves me and how are they loving me? And this day is about me. And right here in that part, it truly shatters all of that. Because the second you're putting yourself first and you're self-seeking, you're not honoring the people around you and you're not loving. And then moving on to say it is not easily angered. So I think it's interesting that those things are all right next to each other, because first it says it doesn't dishonor. Then it says it's not self-seeking. Then it says it's not easily angered. And I don't know about you, but when I'm being a little bit more selfish and I'm putting my needs and myself first, when those things aren't met, I can become easily angered and I can feel like I'm not valued in the ways I should be. I can get in my head, honestly, and it can upset me that I'm being treated a certain way or feeling mistreated. And I think it's interesting that it says it's not self-seeking and it's not easily angered, because the second you do remove yourself from that selfish desire and you are truly just trying to love the people around you to your best abilities, honestly, it's so hard to be angry. And in those moments of my life where I've truly stepped into that and I have solely wanted to love my brother or sister in Christ or the friends around me or the person that I'm dating, and I'm so beyond focused on them and ways that I can love them above myself and honor them above myself, it's almost impossible for me to get angry in those moments, because it isn't about me. It's about that same reflection of laying one's life down for another in the ways Christ laid down his life for us. It goes on to say it keeps no record of wrongs. Oh my gosh, I don't know about you, but that alone is beautiful. I don't know what you guys have experienced in your life, whether it's been from parents, from relationships, friends, but I have had people keep records of my wrongs. And I already have to deal with my own guilt, my own shame, my own just maybe regrets about things, and knowing that I was not the best version of myself. But then when someone else keeps an even longer tab and even better recollection of that, I don't know what's worse. Like that truly just defeats me. It's the worst feeling. And I'm guilty of it at times as well. But knowing love truly does not keep records of wrongs is a beautiful thing to strive for. And it goes hand in hand with Christ. And that's why it can say God is love, because God truly is the only one that can love us like this. And God truly is the only one that does not keep records of our wrongs. We are washed white as snow. He cleanses us. We are so pure. We are so vibrant to him. We are as white and glowing as can be day after day. He does not keep records of wrongs, even though we've sinned 1,000+ times. Even though every single day I mess up, it is not held to who I am and my identity and the things that I've done. And so to not keep a record of wrongs, I think, is one of the most powerful ways you can love someone. And I do want to stress, though, real quick, there's a big difference of I'm not going to keep a record of wrong versus I'll let you walk all over me. And there is definitely a distinction in that. And the Bible does talk about those distinctions as well and having those boundaries. And I kind of talked about it in one episode where I mentioned what turning the other cheek really means. But keeping no record of wrongs is not in the sense of, oh, someone is lying to me constantly, is cheating on me, is abusing me, is mentally abusive to me, and I'm just going to keep no record of wrong and to love them through it, because that's what love is. That is so not what love is. And we are called to love ourselves, and we're called to treat our body as a temple. And if our temple is constantly being wrecked and constantly being destroyed, and we're giving them that power over us to destroy us, and saying that we're just keeping no record of wrong and turning the other cheek, that is not biblical. That is never what God intended. God should be the only one to have any sort of authority over our lives and have any ounce of control. If there is another human that has that sort of control and power over you and your heart and your emotions, that is so far from his design for us. So I just want to stress that real quick. Moving on, it says, love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. To be honest, there have been times in my life where I'm not really rejoicing at the truth. And there are some times that I mess up, and I mess up in relationships. I mess up in my friendships. I mess up with trying to love people, and it can become selfish. And when I'm called out in those things, it doesn't always make me want to just rejoice and leap for joy and jump with gratitude. It humbles me in a way where, I'm like, ooh, okay, I need to calm down. I need to quiet down. I need to humble myself real quick. You're right. I'm sorry. Not fun to hear, but you're right. And so it's so cool that God genuinely just rejoices with truth. And it's cool to view love as rejoicing in truth, because there are so many times where somebody has spoken truth into me, and it does make me want to rejoice because it calls me higher and it calls me to be better. And when I've been able to speak truth to somebody else and they rejoice in that truth with me, it creates such a feeling of growth together, because it shows that both of us are able to love one another enough to lay our pride aside and to not have this who's right, who's wrong mentality, but to have a truth mentality and a team mindset mentality. And when that is what your relationship is operating out of, it truly is love. I have yet to experience that in a romantic relationship, but God's been so gracious into my friendships where I've really been able to learn so many forms of love, communication, honor, respect, problem solving, team building through my friendships. And one of the biggest takeaways I have, it's being able to speak the truth freely, being able to receive the truth freely, and never feeling attacked and never attacking. And that solely comes from understanding you are on a team. And every ounce of truth that is ever brought up is always to make your relationship closer and better, to never pull you apart. And also knowing that if it becomes a who's right, who's wrong, oh, well, you did this and I did this, and that's quote unquote true. Yeah, that could be true. But the second there's that divide of someone's right, someone's wrong, it makes it that much harder to actually love one another and become closer to one another versus being on the same team. Then I could be wrong, but it doesn't matter because whatever we get to, we're getting there together as a team and we're growing closer together as a team. I could be right, but that also doesn't matter because that was never the goal for me to be right. The goal was for us to grow closer. The last part of this verse says, it always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always preserves. To always protect is so much deeper than I think my mind can fully comprehend. Because when I love something, I love Pixie Rose. She's right here. She's sleeping by me. But I will do anything I can to protect her. I will make sure she does not eat anything she's not supposed to protect her health. I will not let other dogs near her. I won't let her walk in certain neighborhoods. I make sure she is as spoiled as can be and as protected as can be. And it is because I love her. But I'll fall short. Sometimes I'll be gone. Sometimes I'm not able to watch her. Sometimes something does fall on the floor. Sometimes she does get sick from things. Sometimes she does throw up. Even though I try my hardest to protect her, I cannot protect her fully. And the fact that God always protects and he protects us perfectly and fully makes me just wonder what the depth of that is. And what that should look like in our relationships, because to protect the person you love and the relationship you have, I think comes with having so many boundaries, honestly. Boundaries that keep the good in and the bad out. Not at all in an overbearing way, not at all in a controlling way, not at all in a fearful way, because the very next part says it always trusts. So if your boundaries are coming out of a place of mistrust, it's not love. If you're protecting in a way that's being fearful, then it's not love. But if you're protecting in a way that you're always trusting for more and trusting one another, I think that is such a beautiful depiction of what love truly is. Because to always trust and not ever be coming from a place of fear of somebody else seeing them in a certain way, fear of what they might do, fear of who they might be talking to, fear of if they're looking at somebody else. If fear is fully removed and it is solely trust, it is never your fault if they break that. And it's never something for you to feel like you should not have given them that trust. Because we are called to trust and we're called to protect. And when those things are broken, it isn't an excuse for us to put up these walls as boundaries and say, well, you did this and this, and so I need to have these boundaries in place. No, boundaries should always keep the good in and the bad out. And if there's slip-ups, if there are things that happen, boundaries help us to protect. And trust helps us to not live in a fearful state. And boundaries are always made to help you love the people around you more. So if somebody has done something, for you to love them best, maybe that does look like, hey, I need to have some boundaries here. I need to have a different form of communication. I need to have more space. I need to see what you're like when I'm not around. I need to have certain boundaries that maybe I didn't need to before, so that I can love you in a better way, where I'm not resentful, where I'm not holding on to past things, where I'm not keeping tabs on all these wrong things that you've done to me, but I'm able to love you better. And sometimes I'm able to love people so much better by not even existing in their life. And I've learned that it's extremely hard to do, but there are some friendships and there are some people or relationships where we realized we were both able to love each other so much better by not being together. And that's not ever a bad thing. Boundaries are there so that you're able to love them in the best ways possible. And sometimes love looks like a distance, and sometimes love does not look or feel the same for every person that you encounter. My fourth little tip is to make a plan. And I know I kind of said this in part 3, but I wanted to do a full talk on what that looks like. So make a plan. I am so excited for Valentine's Day because I plan out my day. I have it set to not a T, like there's definitely wiggle room, but I have things in there where I know I'm going to look forward to it. And I know I'm going to go to my favorite coffee shop. I know I'm going to go on a walk or do a workout, do things that fuel me, and incorporate things throughout the day that fill my heart, mind, body, and soul. And I think if you structure your day that way, you truly won't be left disappointed. And you're going to have a wonderful day. And so planning something to do for your heart during the day, and whether that is a date night, whether that is you going to your favorite coffee shop, whether that's treating yourself, it does not matter. Do something for your heart. And then doing something for your body. For me, that's exercise. I love exercise. It fuels me. And so maybe it is going to get a workout in. Maybe it's going on a hike. It does not matter, but doing some sort of movement. Do not just sit still. Go for a walk. It does not matter. Do yoga, stretch, something for your body. Do something for your heart. Do something for your body. Do something for your mind. I love fulfilling conversations. And I love learning. And so usually what I do is I listen to a podcast that truly feels like it's something for my mind, or I call someone where I know our conversations are just so fruitful, or I read. I genuinely love it. And so doing something for your mind is just so important. And also doing something for your mind in the sense of foods, because you operate so much better and at the capacity you were supposed to when you're fueled with the right nutrients. And so a lot of times what I do for my mind is actually the things that I ingest. And if I know I'm not going to feel good eating certain foods versus other ones that I know I feel incredible and I know I'm able to process and I don't feel foggy, but I feel so clear-headed, I'm going to choose those foods. And even on Valentine's Day, there are so many ways that you can be so healthy and put great things into your body while enjoying them. And whether it's chocolate covered strawberries, or different desserts or pizza, guess what? There's so many ways that those can be made in a healthy way where there's no refined sugars, there's no gluten, there's no processed ingredients. It's as clean as can be. It's stripped down. It's in the ways God had intended us to consume food. So really also prioritizing your mind in the sense of, well, what am I putting in my body that's actually fueling my mind? Your soul. Do something to fill your soul. I have to read my Bible on Valentine's Day. There's absolutely no way I can get through the day without it. I need that fulfillment for my soul. I need worship music on. I need as much Jesus as I can get, and nothing quenches and fills my soul the way Jesus does. So making that a big priority. And also this Valentine's Day, it is Ash Wednesday. And actually it's kind of funny because I have too many plans in the sense of I just don't know which Jesus-y thing to do because it's Ash Wednesday. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I go to church, but then I also have one of my favorite Bible studies on Wednesday. So like, well, maybe I go to Bible study. And then I also have a church event for Valentine's Day as well. So I'm just like, right now I have so many options of ways to fill my soul. And it's really not a bad problem. It's just so funny because I feel like I've never had so many things on Valentine's Day night being single that all conflict with one another. And they all are centered around Jesus. So honestly, kind of the best problem I think I've had. So who knows what I'll end up doing? It will be one of those three things. Doing something for your heart, your body, your mind, and your soul on Valentine's Day and planning those things into your day is going to leave you feeling so much better and so rejuvenated. The last thing that I want to touch on is the commandment of do not covet, because kind of what I said with comparison can kill all joy. Really, we are commanded not to covet, and Valentine's Day is such an easy way for the devil to get into our heads and to make us feel like we want something other than what we have. And I'm not saying that it's wrong to want certain things that you don't have right now. Like, I definitely want to be married at some point in my life. I can't wait to be a wife. I cannot wait to have a partner to do life with and to walk out and build God's kingdom each and every day with. But that's just not the season I'm in at the moment. And that's not what I have at the moment. And so I can want those things, but if I'm coveting the people that have those things, that's where I think the devil can just have a hold on our hearts in ways that we might not even realize, because he can take our desires that are so good and so pure and then twist them to be things we want to envy about somebody else and we want to covet. And the word covet is a desire or a craving for something that belongs to someone else. It typically involves feelings of envy, jealousy, greed, and can lead us to discontentment. And that's where I want the word covet to really be something we're aware of for Valentine's Day, and to not let us fall into this jealousy or this greed or discontentment for where we currently are in our lives and what we're experiencing and the days that we're having. Because when we do step out of what we are in and we're looking at what other people are in and we're wanting that in a way that isn't biblical, it's so hard for us to experience God's grace and love and beauty that he's pouring to us in this very moment. And that's something I want to challenge you on as well, is maybe just start your day asking God, show me your love today. Let me see it all throughout the day. Show up for me in little ways. Help me to show up for others. Show me who I need to love on today. Who can I pour into? Who needs the type of love that you have laid out for us, that is patient, that is kind, that keeps no records of wrongs, that is trusting, that protects? Who needs that, and who can I share that with? And maybe that is you being selfless. Maybe that's you going and surprising your friends with flowers and coffee. Maybe that's you texting people. Maybe that's you calling people. Maybe that's you making sure others feel love, because God loves you better and more fully than anyone else ever can. And knowing that you have that love and you have access to that love and that he's giving you that love each and every day, and especially on Valentine's Day, is such a wonderful place for you to pour out and pour into others. So I love you guys. I hope you have the best Valentine's Day. Please wear pink or red and tag me in whatever you do. I cannot wait to see what you guys all end up doing, who you spend it with, the things that fill your heart, mind, body, and soul. And don't forget to share this episode if this was helpful, and have an amazing week. I'll talk to you next Wednesday. Love you.